Hey Mark, how are you?
Hey Bruce, I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Yeah, it's a nice Sunday.
Yeah, same thing here. Pretty nice outside here actually.
How am I coming through? I've reconfigured everything over here. I'm at a different desk. I'm using a different microphone, everything.
Oh, you're coming through great.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah.
Yep.
I've started recording, so we're gonna do another podcast. The last one was epic. And I threw the whole Guatemala thing in at the end.
Yeah. I watched that whole thing, dude. I can't believe I hadn't heard about it. Dude, the money and what was most astonishing to me about that whole thing was the I think he said 80 different awards that were granted to all different redacted individuals in Guatemala, and no trace of where that money went
Yeah,
or what it was used for.
yeah,
Or and of course the all the kids who have no trace of anything, no record of them ever coming here.
absolutely. So what's on your mind today? What
Oh,
makes
I'm gonna try to be pulled together. I don't know if I'm gonna be like good podcast material today. I'm kind of all over the place with my thoughts.
yeah.
Um, but first of all, I've been listening. I just finished listening to your Human Devil episodes. I just listened to the seventh one like an hour or two ago, and dude, that's got to be the most important piece of podcasting to ever come out. That could be
Gonna give
more
me a swell head. You're gonna bring me back down into ego consciousness. I'm gonna have to go and repent.
well, it is what it is. I mean, they it, the information that
So, but you hear what I'm saying. You can't go into this material until you can't really absorb it until you can love them. Like you got to pity them. Like
yeah.
I did another one last night called "Punks Are Children of Prostitutes," and
Mhm.
I examine Obama and Trudeau, and both of their mothers did pornography and got passed around, and both of their fathers were radical communists. Fidel Castro was the father of Justin Trudeau, and Barack Hussein Obama's father was a radical communist. So they were created. They are sort of like the inheritance of their family sins, right? But
Yeah.
there's no awakening there. Now, I you've read The Devil in Us.
Yep.
I could have been that guy. I mean, I was sort of raised not to operate at that level, but middle management for 400, $500,000 a year and not question anything. And
Yeah.
those people are vital in the cult as well. But like Gautama Siddhartha, I said no and I left the family and I went on my own. And so, but the point I'm trying to make is that you've got to stay in a love vibration towards these people. If you let the anger and hate in, then because you're focusing on them, what possesses them or oppresses them will come and attack you.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
So
course.
it's all very simple. It's we lost the consciousness in Western society to produce people who can instruct on spiritual warfare. That it's that simple. It used to be the shamans who would do this because
Mhm.
they had to do it as well because they were warring with other tribes in North America and stuff.
Sorry, the cat wanted to come into the room. Oh wow, you disappeared.
It's my vape.
Yeah, I see where exactly what you're saying with the love. Because if you don't come into it with at least some aspect of trying to love them from a universal standpoint, I feel like you end up prohibiting yourself from getting any spiritual growth anyway
Yeah.
and development.
And
'Cause-
that's what they're trying to do at this stage of the plan
exactly.
by releasing so much of the information. You've got complete idiots like Chris Cuomo doing the social media platform now, like Tucker Carlson, He got
Yeah.
fired from CNN, and magically all of the information on Fauci and this people comes out, and there's hero Chris Cuomo to catch the fly ball in the right outfield.
Yeah,
You know?
he regularly uses ivermectin, and it was never
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's complete nonsense. And all of this is setting us up for the Antichrist, because the Antichrist will be the figure who wipes out all the negative people and gathers up their power for himself or
Yeah,
her. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Well, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today was throughout the Human Devil podcast series you've been doing. A lot of a couple times you mentioned abortion, and episode 7 you mentioned the wizard who had done thousands of abortions a year, um, the Illuminati wizard, and it just brought to mind I actually recently seen, Robert Kennedy Jr. was seen as like our a hope for people who think alternatively. His stance on the vaccines and stuff like that. And then, but then you find out his stance on Israel. He refuses to say anything bad that could even shine any kind of light on Israel. And
Yeah.
then I just saw a video, an interview with him. A lady asked him what he thinks about abortion, and he says, well, it should. I honestly believe it should always be the woman's right to choose. And okay, that's not a radical standpoint to have. But then she furthered that question up. She said, even full term abortion. And he said, yes, I believe that full term abortion should be the woman's right to choose.
Yeah.
That that's not an abortion. That's just murder. That's not
Yeah.
that's not an that's a live baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's I guess I don't know why it shocked me so much, but I mean,
He's a
considering his
punk.
yeah, and
He's a punk.
he had so many people fooled. So
Yeah.
many people thought he was going to come in and be like the the savior or speak for the people, and here he is just say let's call it how it is. He's advocating for the murder of babies, like
Yeah.
live babies, not placentas, not cells, babies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep,
It's disgusting.
it is. It is, and I don't know. It kind of makes me question his whole bloodline. Like I used to think that John Kennedy had some want to help the American people.
Yeah.
But even now, it's like I don't even know if that could be true.
I think John F. Kennedy was for real.
You do?
Yeah, I think the Mossad organized his killing.
Yeah, I've seen. I've seen a lot of
He
stuff.
was he was gonna make the AIPAC lobby register, formally register in the lobbyist register.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of stuff Kennedy was gonna do. Kennedy, I think JFK had a conscience. I think his brother Bobby did as well,
Mm-hmm.
and they got killed. So that's a pretty
Yeah,
clear that's a pretty clear indication that they were on to something, right?
it makes you wonder. So, Bobby Kennedy Jr. he talks a strong talk, and he's very knowledgeable about the things that his father and his uncle did. And when you watch him do interviews, he references those things. How does he how and he specifically talks about how he wants to further, the movement put on by John Kennedy.
Yeah.
But then how do you I like you said, they're pathological liars, so that's how they do it. But it's just like you say you want to further the movement put on by your uncle, who was considered one of the greatest to ever be president or whatever, and then you go and fucking just straight align yourself with Israel.
Yeah.
And when you saying the shit about Kennedy and AIPAC, it's not the first time I've heard that. I mean, people know that that's history. That's factual stuff. So obviously Bobby Kennedy Jr. knows it, and he's like he just lies in your face.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. Um, it is what it is.
Yeah.
One sec, I got to get a new camera set up here.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I mean they're all pathological liars at this point. I but what people don't realize is like how bad they are. They're not
Yeah.
they're
Exactly.
they're not just a little bit bad. They're they're really bad, right?
Yeah.
So um that's what people need to realize. And and they're not really.
No.
I don't
No.
know why I can't get this camera coming back. Oh, start video. Let's see.
All
Okay.
black.
Yeah, I see that now. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Um, anyways, we'll just keep going on, I guess. Let me see if I can get the USB camera back.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Okay. So yeah, we'll just keep going. I did those stained glass windows myself over here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
a beautiful little place I live in. The energy is just phenomenal. And I'm meditating in here like I don't know anywhere from, one to 3 or 4 hours a day. So I wrote all my books in this room. It's got a really nice energy. Like anybody who walks into it, it feels really good. So
That's great.
yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
I'm sorry, my cats are going absolutely crazy. Like they wanted to come in here, and now they're just.
Don't even get me started on cats. I will go all day on those bastards.
So there was a clip in you that you played in one of your episodes last week, and
Yeah.
it was a female talking, and she was wearing like a pink top,
Mhm.
and I think it was her. I think she mentioned that something along the lines of John Podesta and Chester Bennington.
Yeah.
Um, have you looked into that at all?
Dude, how much more evidence do I need? If I'm a homicide detective and I come to a crime scene and a person has been bludgeoned, hacked, stabbed, burned, and shot, if I match the bullet to the gun of the killer, I have the killer. I don't need to go over the bludgeoning and the stabbing and you're just torturing yourself. I have a lot of people who reach out to me and they just want to share like just the most vile stuff about what the cult's doing and I'm going, yeah, stop being surprised. So of course, but more importantly in the Human Devil series, there's that picture of the Jeffrey Dahmer victim and
Yeah,
then the sculpture in what's Tony's brother's name? There's Tony
uh,
Podesta
John.
and in John Podesta's
Yeah,
apartment. And then all of the paintings are children in like ceramic tiles, like sauna rooms or swimming.
yep.
That's to clean blood,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah. But the I just hadn't heard about the Chester Bennington connection to him, and
Yeah,
then I saw a picture of them side by side, and dude, they look. He's a
yeah.
spitting image.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of inbreeding in this culture.
Uh,
Like there's a lot of what I would not inbreeding, but selective breeding. So Lady Diana was genetically selected because she had a bloodline that could contain the royal bloodline.
mhm.
Okay, so she was selected simply to breed the way horse people will breed horses. Okay, and it's the same thing with Margaret Trudeau. She was brought in to breed. This is one of the chief characteristics of the cult,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So Like once you see it, the balloon just keeps expanding. You think, oh, it's gonna pop any day now. No,
Yeah,
it's bigger than the Earth, right? It just keeps going and going and going and going. There's no end to it, man. There is no end to it. It's just we are completely owned and run by a satanic cult now. And there are another 10 or 20 million people in the United States who may not be actively participating in it, but don't talk about it. You could not be in Hollywood for 20 years and not know about this.
yeah,
I don't care who you are. Even if you have a good reputation, and I mean, who's told us what's really going on in some measure? Jim Caviezel,
hmm,
Mel Gibson, and they sort of get, tortured for it and ridiculed in the mainstream press. Then they just put all their attack dogs on you, the Don Lemons, the Anderson Coopers, and they do a public defamation ritual, a humiliation ritual, because you dared question the cult. Okay? But look, good news is they're coming to an end, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
a lot, what they do is they go in and they infect things, okay? So they infected Judaism. There was there no rabbi can tell you where the Star of David comes from. It's they've
yeah,
only been using it for a few centuries. Okay, what does that correlate with? It correlates with the worshipful fuelers, the 1600s in England, the beginning of the dark Judaism, Sabbatai Levi, Frankism, all of these things, these inversions of religious doctrine. If they say chaste, be orgiastic, right? Now, you sent me a picture of that German politician covered in feces.
yeah,
There was another video on X of him licking the inside of public toilet bowls.
yeah. I saw
So
that.
this is a form of possession. It's low level. It's a low level form of possession. It came up in the 13-minute video I played on the Marquis de Sade.
Yeah,
He used to give the prostitutes candies to make them flatulent. There was a mild laxative side effect, and then he would go up to their ass and inhale their farts. I mean that's not normal human behavior.
not at all. Marquis de Sade. I never knew outside of the 120 Days of Sodom. I never knew all the stuff that that video entailed. And I feel like they in high school they had his book available to check out. I remember when I was in high school that you could check that out in the 120 Days of Sodom in the library at high school. But they never taught us about who he was or what he did.
Yeah.
I think I remember hearing that he was the furthest that we learned about Marquis de Sade was when we learned about the French and we learned about the Napoleon,
Yeah.
and we learned that he was considered a bad person because he wrote pornography. That's like the extent of what we learned about him.
Yeah, so that's the mindset that leads to ritual murder. And then once you start in on the ritual murders, you eventually make your way to the children because this demonic energy can never sate. So the desire becomes greater and greater and greater and greater. And this is the satanic spirit, which again is really just extraterrestrial. It's various forms of extraterrestrial using the human host to get the energies that they want. Okay, so it's
Yeah,
reptoids, arachnoids, insectoids. There's a whole host of negative extraterrestrials. And then our religions and sort of like our helpers are like positive extraterrestrials, I suppose you could say. Pleiadians to some extent, Arcturians, Syrians, um, Andromedans. And a lot of people have come in now because the vibration of the earth became so foul that most of these advanced races can read the timeline, and they saw something horrible happening in the whole universe in the future. And through their technology, they traced it back to what was going on Earth. This is the Alex Collier material, the Andromedan contactee. And so we have a lot of help now. And most of the fight is on 3D now. You don't have to worry so much about the 4D stuff, the negative entities and stuff, unless you invite them in. But, and this is why they're bringing in all the surveillance, because they all of the control used to be done from the astral, and the war there is sort of over now and is trickling down to the physical. And when this is all over, by the way, we get a massive bump up, the human race. We go to a new level of consciousness that has never been seen on this planet. Like everybody is going to be in some measure Christ-like, self-healing, long living, full of love, able to understand the universe, commiserate with beings from different planets, talk to animals, talk to trees, make things grow very easily, right? Like all of these ancient technologies and knowledge are coming back. And it's despite the horror of, so my job is to make people aware of what's happened. You can think of me as a documentation specialist, like an angelic scribe or something. And it's very important that it gets physically put down on the 3D plane and put into a book. Doesn't matter how many copies I sell. Think of it like, although it isn't, but think of it like a magical act whereby anchoring the energy of the truth into the book, it spreads through the fourth dimension, and then all of the positive entities have the ability to whisper it to people and make that they suddenly start to wake up, even if they read the book or not. And it was the book that gave them the license to do it, because otherwise they're not allowed to interfere. Do you understand? It's
Yeah, yeah,
there's spirituality to a certain point is much more scientific and rational than people
yeah.
believe. Like it's very, very rational until it becomes irrational. And that's when you go into the really high dimension. It's just like there's no measurement, there's no time, there's nothing. And it's just a wow, what's going on here? Right? But for most of the dimensions that are affecting the physical, it's all very rational. And the occultists, they understand it like nobody's business. That's all they do is study it. And the chief characteristic of people into the occult is not spiritual practice like meditation, it's study,
Okay.
okay? Because
Yeah.
it's the mind. The mind will almost always misdirect you. Always, almost always,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, hold on. Give me one moment, Bruce.
Take your time, yeah. Yeah, so having another conversation with Mark today, folks, and Um, boy, what a compliment. The Human Devil series is the most important piece of podcasting done. I don't know. I get like 70, maybe 80 views on a video, but that is the time we live in, right? You 70 or 80 are going to carry the knowledge out, and you will pass it to other people whether you realize it or not, because there's a lot of consciousness transference between human beings. Um, just basically life is a series of fractals that repeat themselves. So when you look at what osmosis is at the cellular level, we do that at the level of consciousness. Each consciousness is an individual cell in the body of humanity, and we osmotically transfer information to each other. So it's all good, I mean, it's all good. Um, so I feel really good about having written these books, especially The Devil in Us. And I have to give my thanks where thanks are due. There's a lot of people who helped me. One gentleman specifically who I'll leave unnamed, some of you who may know. And yeah, it's a very wonderful thing to be a part of all of this. And you don't have to be afraid anymore. There's so much protection out there. You don't have to be afraid anymore. You can speak your mind in a non-confrontational way. Just speak your truth. I mean, they're speaking their truth. which is materialism and punishment. So why not speak your truth? Hey, Mark, welcome back, man.
Thanks. Yeah, sorry. We had a lot of stuff going on in the last half an hour. My fiance just got back. She bought her wedding dress today, and
Oh,
the animals.
congratulations.
Thank you. The animals were going crazy, but I think we're good now.
Good, good, good. So what else is on your mind? You ask good questions and you allow me to speak to things that probably a lot of people would like to ask but don't have the courage to come on with me and have a conversation. I I I get the sense that I intimidate a lot of people. I hope that's not the case because I am literally the most approachable person in the world. I live with Costa Rican Spanish peasants, campesinos. They all like me. I'm not really that intimidating at all. So I don't know why people feel that way, but
Yeah,
Jody broke the barrier, Jody Wilson, and did a podcast with me, and God bless her. Wonderful podcast,
yeah.
you
I
know.
hadn't checked that one out yet. I've been so obsessed with the Human Devil series, but I will go back
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
and check
It's
it
gonna
out.
it's gonna it's gonna spread out in the coming months and years,
Mhm.
right? It's just gonna spread out. Um So after we do this recording, I'm going to send you a PDF of a book I wrote in 2012. That was the download I got. I wrote it as fiction. It's called The Stolen Child, but I promise you it'll be the most entertaining novel you've read in your whole life.
Okay.
And it's about all of this stuff, but I did it in novel form. And it's called The Stolen Child. If anybody wants to read it, it's also up on the Amazon site as well. But that's it. People don't read that much anymore. I've
Yeah.
had some nice compliments. I've had people call me and say, Bruce, holy cow, you awakened a love of reading in me again. I gave up because the books are so shitty now. Like
They are.
there hasn't been a good novel. Nothing is spiritually charged now. It's all demonically charged.
Or woke. Like,
Yeah, well, woke is demonically charged.
yeah, it's weird. Like we love going to the bookstore and stuff, but most of the new stuff that you see come out, it's either gay or about an over exaggerated story about a minority who is now overcoming uh, unforeseen odds. It's just like template cookie
Yeah,
cutter
I,
shit.
I, I, I believed I defined the state of Canadian literature at the awards level and the grant level. Because you can't make your living as a writer, but a lot of writers have good livings because they get government money,
Mhm.
right? And those writers and those stories are almost always or invariably a angry minority lesbian woman. That's,
Yeah,
I mean, it's ridiculous. The baby boom writer that toxified a lot of people was Margaret Atwood. She hated men. She hated what she perceived as a power imbalance. Another thing to remember is that all of these natural imbalances only occur in cities. When you go back to nature, a woman is a woman and a man is a man. My
yep,
wife is never going to kill a snake in the bathroom. She needs me.
yeah,
Okay. Um, and and I need her up here. Otherwise, my life would be far less comfortable. I'd probably wash my bed sheets once a month, right? Just sleep in my sweat and dead skin cells. But when you're in nature, the dynamic of marriage just is so perfect, and you achieve a deeper love with your spouse because you need them. You need them. Marriage is not what people think it is. You don't want to marry your best friend. You don't want to. It's just, do I need this person, and does this person need me? It's that simple.
yeah,
Okay. And can
exactly.
we build? Can we co-create together?
Yep.
Can we produce children and cooperatively raise them? That's it. And when you look at my generation and the baby boomers, holy cow, we just destroyed marriage. And
Yeah,
and and for what? To be licentious? to have more sexual variety. And it all comes about because of the overstimulation in the cities,
Yeah.
you know, and quite frankly, the abundance of electromagnetic fields.
Yeah.
That's another thing as well, the electromagnetic fields. So, yeah.
Well, talking about raising kids,
So hold
one
on,
of the
I'm gonna get a coffee. I can hear you. I'm just gonna get a coffee. I'll be 10 seconds. But I want to pick your brain about the Human Devil series. I mean, I'm getting this. You read the book,
yeah,
but somehow when I talk out the chapter over 7 podcasts, you understand it better?
it's not that I understand it better. It's just so when I'm reading it, I mean, I don't have any problems understanding it when I read it.
Yeah.
It's just something about hearing it, and then the way you combine that with the clips of people speaking, and you go into a little bit more little bit of detail that you might have not have mentioned in the book,
Yeah.
and different things, and I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah.
What? Why did you stop talking? I told you I can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
That's
so what I was going to start talking about was this idea that I was having, something I was thinking about with in regards to children, and you know, how we're so over sexualized at such a young age now, and I wonder if this over sexualization of children, and we know that there's pedophiles running the world and whatnot, but if a lot of this is to really just weaken our psyches and our spirituality as a whole, and make it so that we can't spiritually evolve, or make it as hard as possible for us to
yeah.
spiritually evolve. I mean, you got
Yeah.
people, my generation. It's not uncommon for, people my age to have. If you ask them when was the first time you saw a porn video, probably anywhere from 8 to 10, like
Jeez, that's
hardcore
disturbing. That is so
hardcore
disturbing.
porn. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like when your generation was a kid, and you found a Playboy magazine,
Yeah.
and it's complete it was completely different for kids my generation.
Yeah.
And now that has to be some kind of sexual trauma for such a young mind,
Yeah.
because, and especially, I know a couple people who became addicted to porn at like 10, 11, 12 years old,
Oh my God. That's
because
not even through puberty.
no, because you have a cell, like my generation grew up, everybody got a cell phone at like 8 years old.
Yeah.
By the time we were like 11 or 12, the iPhone came out, and that was it. I mean, I remember being in middle school, and some kid getting in trouble because he got caught masturbating in the bathroom watching porn, and like it was it's that but that's how my generation was. They were exposed to pornography at such a young age, and I can see that a lot of people are actually really damaged from it, whether it be like misconstrued ideas of what sex is, or even simpler things with not knowing how to talk to a girl, because you never had to do it before, because you were so obsessed with watching porn that you didn't even think about going to talk to a girl. And
Yeah.
but I also see that it's leading to a lot of problems with, even if you weren't addicted to it at such a young age, most people
Yeah.
are addicted to it now, like in their 20s or in their late teens, and
Yeah.
they see it as a replacement for sex, or they see it as um,
A,
just
suddenly asexuality has become a viable option.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But these people, they I don't know. It's like they don't have like the it's like their spirit has been killed almost.
Oh my God. What that does is it starts a massive energy siphoning. Okay. and it brings a whole host of leeches in on the astral. Okay. And then you're just giving away your energy, giving away your energy, giving away your energy, because semen is another occult fluid, right? Like blood. But please, I don't want to talk about it. Okay. I just want to have a nice Sunday. I don't want to talk about it today. But yeah, it is what it is. We're gonna get through this. Believe it or not, this is a massive initiation for human beings. Generally, we learn by suffering. It's the model down here. We're in a forced evolution. This is the way the extraterrestrials set it up. So their experiment is to see if they can shorten the evolutionary distance between an unaware particulate of consciousness to full individuated self-awareness and reintegration with the divine. That's their goal. That's what they're trying to do. It's really kind of a noble goal when you think about it, but like the sort of in many ways, the MK Ultra program is a human metaphor for the way this whole planet was set up by the extraterrestrials.
Okay.
Yeah, think about that, right? So it's very interesting. So I mean, everything at the end of the day is positive. Everybody gets there. Believe it or not, Hillary Clinton and John Podesta will go back into the ocean of love and mercy. The drop that is their soul will one day merge with the ocean. Now, because of their behavior now, they may have to do a massive recycle, which could take like a trillion years. Like
Yeah.
it's like it's like failing a grade in high school or in elementary school, and all your friends pass you, and then you gotta stay behind, and it's not good, man.
No.
And this may very well be what is going on with a lot of these whack jobs. Um, I think that they're trying to make the cut through negative perfection, okay? Which I also don't want to talk about it. But there is, let's say, a way you could do this through you could ascend to the next level of consciousness, and you could continue the incarnation in the next phase of humanity, but you go the left hand rather than the right hand. And some people are trying to do that, right? But I don't know how God's going to look upon that. I really don't, you know.
Okay.
All right, the human devil, like what struck you about the podcast so much? So you're making me feel insecure as a writer.
No,
Like
no, dude, it has nothing to do with any kind of inadequacy of the book. If the book is fantastic, and I advise anybody listening to this to read the
yeah,
book, buy it and read it, um and if it might not, like, it's not going to, a lot of people listening to your show probably already are familiar with a lot of the things that you talk about,
yeah,
or any, and so it's not going to shock a lot. It's not so much the shock factor. It's just the I don't know. You talked about the energy that went into the book, holding
yeah,
that book in your hand, and having that information and all the work that you put into it in your hand. There's something to be said for that,
yeah.
and it's an experience in and of itself. And I mean, I first read. You sent me the copy of The Devil in Us, so I read that electronically. But then after I read it, I was like, "Fuck this! I'm buying all three of them." I bought all three physical copies, and then obviously I had my experience with the Light of Darkness, and
How's that going?
well,
Yeah.
it's going okay.
No, but I mean, is the entity still around?
It is here. I mean, I don't want to say he, but it feels like a male energy.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know why I feel like that. It's just what I get.
yeah.
And
Well, ask it to step forward and declare itself.
okay, I mean, the last time we had an experience was like,
Was it a
oh,
cat?
I hope it was a cat. My fiance came in and she put her dress in the closet, and the cat followed her into the closet and got stuck in the closet.
Okay. So,
I thought that was the entity.
Yeah. So it could be any number of things, right? It could be an ancestor needing your help while you're in the body, because we can do a lot more in the body than they can on the other side to repair certain things, right? Being in a body is very powerful once you know more about why you're incarnated and what the power of an incarnation is. So, just in your own time, ask it to step. Now, so you should now have the ability to speak to these things, right? Like I told you the etymology, like the history of the devil in us. I had no intention of writing this book. I had not spoken really to Bob for like 4 years since we finished, or 3.5 years since we finished The Light of Darkness. He had his own journey to go through, and I won't talk about it. It's not my business, but Bob is more directly attacked. Like federal agencies and stuff. And and then my dad dies, and holy cow, I had this huge revelation. And a lot of the questions I had asked in meditation over the years, in prayer, in communication with the divine, a lot of times the answer I got back was 55.
Mhm.
Okay, so wait till you're 55. And sure enough, when I was 55, my dad died, and all of these revelations about the dark energy that had been around me my whole life. And I'd already been meditating, but I couldn't shorten it. I had to live through it. Maybe it was to write these books and explain it to other people, right? And,
Yeah,
so what? I'm happy to be of service. At least I didn't have to be tortured and crucified or burned alive or flayed alive like other people in spiritual history have. So this was what I had to go through. But when my dad died, it just like all this energy started to come in. And when somebody close to me passes, they can usually spend some time with me on the other side. And I didn't hear boo from my dad for like 11 months. Then he popped into a meditation and he said, "Are you going to write a sequel to that book?" And disappeared. And 3 days later, Bob calls. He says, "It's time to write another book." I'm going, "Oh my God." Like,
yeah,
try to turn that down. You can't turn that down. You can't not do that, right? And a black cat too.
yeah.
Um,
No, you can't turn that down. And it's funny that you had these experiences around books because
well, let me finish my point. So
okay,
so so my dad communicated with me, and then he's communicated quite a bit since the book finished, and my grandfather who committed suicide. And so we can all do this. Like, don't be afraid. I mean, that's why I did the Simple Ghost Story podcast. Like, don't be afraid. And why do you think they make all these horror movies? And I mean, if you think the Vatican and the Catholics are your buddies, scaring the shit out of you with all of this demonology and everything, they're not. I mean, future generations of humanity will prosecute these people for psychological crimes against humanity. Okay? So you can communicate, but you stay in love. Make sure your heart center is good and say, "Look, what's here? What came with the book? Clearly, you want to communicate with me." They'll find a way to communicate. It may be a dream, it may be a synchronicity, and they may put something in your life path, and then as soon as you pick it up, you'll get an inner nudge and you'll go, you'll have the revelation. This is it. It's not all like going into a seance and seeing the apparition and all this bullshit in movies and books. The way the other side communicates is very subtle. You have to be very aware, which is why I advocate meditation. It expands awareness.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Is 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 there something to be said for, I don't know, entities that might exist here or interact with people and books? Um, I mean, because me personally, my experiences with what's going on is always centered around books. Like
Okay.
the entity came into the house when I brought that book in, when I brought the Light of Darkness in. The it first made itself appear, or it showed itself through to the dog
Yeah.
inside the bookshelf. It had to have been inside the bookshelf. The book itself wasn't in the bookshelf, but the entity was in the bookshelf or near
Yeah.
the bookshelf. And now whenever we interact it tries to interact with us here at our new apartment. It came with us. Um, right now I'm in the office slash spiritual room where I do meditation, and my fiance has a little altar here that she uses, and inside the altar we have books, spiritual books that have all different things that I've read, and we also have like herbalist books and how to make remedies, home remedies, and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it it's in this is the room that it likes for
Yep.
some reason. And I just want to know, maybe you had any insight on why it's books that this entity seems attached to.
Well, I told you the last time we did a podcast, the entity was part of your consciousness was attached to you. You've been living with it probably your whole life, or since puberty anyways, or since whenever the entity attached itself. It's probably familial, meaning related to your bloodline.
Yeah.
And the book, the energy of the book allowed it to separate from you to begin the process of communicating with you.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, if you ever get scared, call Yeshua, call the Christ.
Okay.
He's here in a big way now, like huge, huge. Okay. Now this doesn't mean I'm a holy roller, you know, pounding the Bible and
Yeah.
Christ is the only way, but he's there for everybody to help. And this is his expertise, understanding the other side,
Yeah.
he didn't even punish those demons in the men in the cave. They made one wish of him. Can we go into those swine? And he said, okay. He didn't punish them, right? So
Mhm.
you can ask Yeshua too. He'll help you.
Okay.
And he's very, very, very powerful. Maybe the most powerful figure ever to come to this planet. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good. No, I will definitely keep that in mind because
yeah, yeah,
because I was actually thinking of that exact same thing, not necessarily applying it to myself, but like um just thinking about how odd it seems that Christ is always the one that's called on to in times like that. But you explained it pretty well.
yeah, that's one of his specialities, right? And I mean, you can work with any one of them. I had Milarepa help me in 2009. Dude, I got something put on me. Oh, dude, it was heavy, man. It was after I left the Sufi Durga. It lasted 6 weeks. I was being physically prodded at night, voices in my skull and
Wow.
everything. And then when it finally manifested and tried to take me over in like this intense anxiety attack, um, Milarepa walked in, who I had formed a connection with through reading the 100,000 songs of Milarepa. And
Hmm.
he walked into my inner screen and just burst out laughing. And all the negativity dissipated and disappeared, and it was over. And then Milarepa went away too. He just kind of bowed like this and see you later. They're all there. So a lot of the great teachers and saints and mystics that are centered in the singularity and the love, they're all in this region between matter and pure spirit, and they're still helping humanity. Why do you have to choose one? I'll take
Yeah,
all of them.
exactly.
I'll take all of them. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were dealing with that after um having your experience with the Sufis and stuff,
Yeah.
at any point in your mind did you think like, damn, maybe I should just convert to Islam?
No,
No.
no, no. So what I've learned about myself is I can endure all of these things.
Mhm.
I had a wicked black magic attack done on me October 29th, 2022 by Andrew Bartzis, the galactic historian. And he attacked my son. And it just got pushed back. And like I said, I see these things because what happens is I then say them aloud and the people end up screwing themselves. So let me say aloud, the Mevlevi order of Sufis is not all that spiritual, folks. It's an off. You know who started it? Sabbatai Levi.
Wow. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. He started the Mevlevi order of Sufism. So there's a lot of negativity in there as well. And so the Muslims are using profound spiritual warfare, and that's prohibited, by the way, to direct spiritual forces against other living human beings. That's, so there's an example of Islam collapsing into black magic. It's like
Yeah.
it's epidemic now. It's
Hmm.
epidemic. Like everybody's into black magic now. They're doing the rituals in the catacombs under the Vatican. I mean, you've seen the pictures of the new cathedral, the Serpent Cathedral.
Yeah.
You've seen the sculpture behind the pontifical throne. It's like it's hell,
Hmm.
right?
It's like,
They're
and
telling you
they
who
don't
they
even,
are, right?
and they don't even have to explain themselves.
No,
And nobody, none of their followers asked them to explain themselves.
yeah.
That's what the lack of critical thinking amongst the masses is like really scary.
Well, it's gonna pop open though. Spiritual consciousness is coming back in a big, big way.
Mhm.
But for a lot of people, it will begin with fear because they're not going to know
Yeah,
what's going on, right? Do you remember how terrifying puberty was?
yeah.
So puberty is a physical example of an initiatic experience. So initiatic experience is the transference of knowledge and insight and revelation to a human being through an initiatory practice, an initiatory ritual. So the secret societies do them, and they open up your psychic centers. You get bonded with whatever they're working with, and all of this knowledge and expanded consciousness comes flooding into you. So the best example of an initiatic experience is puberty. So if you're 15 and your 8-year-old brother says, "What's puberty like?" How do you explain it? You say, "I can't explain it. You're going to have to go through it yourself."
Yeah.
Okay? And that's just the way it is. So, and it's the same thing with spiritual growth. So this global initiatic experience that's coming, and this is what this is. It's because God uses both the negative and the positive. So
Mhm.
this is an initiatic experience for the human race now, and it's going to be terrifying for a lot of people. Like
Yeah.
most of my life has been, I mean, the first three chapters of The Devil in Us. I mean, most people would have commit suicide, and it was terrifying. Where am I going to get food tomorrow? How long can I pay my rent? I've been keeping a roof over my head since I was 16 years old. But you get through it all, and you get compensated in a sense. I now live rent-free, no property tax, no mortgage, no water bill. I get my water from a mountain stream. And do you know what it's like to live without bills?
Yeah, that I don't
I
know.
mean, I live on about $1,000 a month. That's my Starlink, my electrical bill, my vape juice, um, um, and whatever food we buy at the grocery store. Because I don't have enough food production on the mountain. That's a big project I want to get into this year. I'm going
Mhm.
to start with big, like, plastic barrels. And I'm just going to start with a lot of the underground stuff like potatoes and onions and stuff like that, and tomatoes, because, you know,
Mhm.
this inflation thing is global, by the way. It's everywhere. It's in
Yeah.
Costa Rica too. Yeah, there's a lot of people in a state of desperation in Costa Rica now as well.
Yeah, I saw there was one country in Europe, I think, I can't remember what country it was, that had like overnight 200% inflation last week. I can't remember what country it was, but I was like, God damn. I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine 200% inflation overnight.
Well, who's running the money system?
Juice.
I would say Nazis and Zionists. And I want to refrain from saying Jew because, like, they're victims like everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay? It's just did the Nazis were not defeated in World War II, but they had no problem allowing 8 million Germans being put into concentration camps and slowly starved over months
Mhm.
and raped. The women were raped and they were all beaten. Uh, You know, did the Nazis feel any allegiance to those Germans? No. And the Zionists don't have any real allegiance to the Jews either. Judaism at its core, the Torah, can be a very beautiful form of spiritual development. And so again, it's like invasion of the body snatchers. The Pope is not a Catholic, he's a Satanist.
Hmm.
The high rabbis doing the black magic are not Jews, they're Satanists. Okay? They believe
Cut out.
can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, we're
You're
back.
back now. Yeah.
So the high rabbis are Satanists, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're Satanists. So um people just have to get their head around this. Those those whack jobs in Saudi Arabia, same thing, right?
Yeah.
The black box, the Kaaba, right? I mean, locked in 4D, right? That's what that block, you know, controlling the 3D from 4D. That's the
Yeah.
whole game. That's the whole game down here.
Yeah. The uh the, the Kaaba used to be a place of pagan worship, and
Yeah.
a lot of people deny that. But I've read a couple articles about how it used to be a place of pagan worship, and how I heard that there used to actually be pagan statues inside of it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. It's all just, you know, but I think real teachings are going to be coming to the human race. And I think based on what I've been told by various insiders, at the end of all of this, we're going to be living in a society where the extraterrestrials are going to openly live among us the way they did in Atlantis.
Really?
Yeah. And then all of the ancient technology is going to come back, and we're going to have a brief golden age. Yeah.
Would this, do you think that's going to lead to a downfall?
Of
Well, what I'm saying is, I mean, the last time we had the golden age was Atlantis, right?
Well,
And
I don't think Atlantis was a golden age, and there's been several iterations of Atlantis, but I mean,
okay,
this goes back 55 million years. The Lemurians are back in a big way on the astral. They're very, very, very powerful beings, and they were the ones that warred. So the Atlanteans were the materialists, and the Lemurians were the spiritual people. So the dichotomy existed even back then.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So
gotcha.
the Lemurians are back. The Lemurians helped me very much with the Light of Darkness. I had a tremendous Lemurian protection. Bob told me, he said, Bruce, if you could see yourself writing this book, there's like a circle of like 9 foot tall Lemurians around you, right?
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And then when I was done that book, I had my first ET contact, and it was a Ligurian came in meditation, and I said, I'm good, thank you. Like he wanted to like enter into relationship with me and begin knowledge transfer and teaching. And I was a little afraid at the time. And I had the intensity of the book had opened up this portal, and I just thought it was better to close the portal.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
pretty interesting of an
So
experience. So,
did you watch the Human Devil podcasts in like one weekend or something?
I watched. I started. I think on like Thursday. I would listen to it on my way to work and from work, and then same thing on Friday, and I had like a bunch of like busy work to do, and I was just listening to it while I did stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
they're only hour long episodes, so I mean, it's a way better thing to do than like binge watching Netflix or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
I really got right through them, and
Yeah.
I think it's awesome though too, because like we were just talking about books, people don't really read anymore, and the podcast method is like one of the main ways people get their information now. So So
That's a
having,
little that's a little discouraging, actually.
yeah, I
It's
know.
it's so much is lost in the digital transfer compared to picking up a book and reading it.
Yeah.
There's a tremendous loss of energy. And
Mhm.
really all you get in the podcast is the information stripped of its energetic context.
Yeah.
So and this is what they're doing. I mean, this is how they're waging the war. They're stripping it down, stripping it down, and stripping it down, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, I could feel the energy that you put into the books when I had them physically.
Yeah.
Reading the Death on Us on a digital format, it was an experience, but nothing like holding the book. Like when I first read the light the light of darkness,
Yeah.
and and to be able to feel that book and the energy that you put into it, and feel that, like, you can feel the transfer of knowledge, and
Yeah.
it's almost like it's almost it's a little bit more work than just listening to a podcast, because you have to comprehend. You don't just
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, and that's the thing about the digital transfer is you don't have to commit any energy or work to it. And
right.
but but it's actually worth it to contribute the energy or work to learn something, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm gonna get a coffee, but I can hear you. Keep talking. What
Okay.
else is on your mind?
um Honestly, I've been trying to focus on reading a lot. I went back and recently started rereading the Bible, with the Old Testament. um I was also reading Walden, and
Oh, Thoreau. Same birthday as me, July 12th.
so I don't want to disappoint you, but Walden, I'm having like a love-hate relationship with.
Yeah.
And so, and it's kind of hard. It's not like intellectually hard for me to read, but I understand what he's saying. But sometimes he just, like, he goes on and on and on about the same thing, and it's like, all right, dude, I kind of get the point.
Yeah.
And so there will be like 10 pages straight where he's doing straight wisdom, and it's like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. And then for the next 15
Well, in
pages,
its in his defense, in the time he was writing, people did that. I
that's
mean,
true.
right smack dab in the middle of Moby Dick is a 40-page encyclopedia on whales that nobody needed,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But then remember, there was no radio and no TV back then. So people,
true.
once they started reading a book, oh, I'm learning about whales. Now it's
Yeah,
just like, well, if I want to know about whales, I'll watch the National Geographic channel on YouTube. I don't need to read these 40 pages.
yeah,
So
exactly.
cut them a little bit of slack, right?
I know.
But yeah,
No, but there's a lot of wisdom to be gained from reading that. And
yeah.
what was astonishing to me, though, is, like, right from the beginning, so many of the things that we complain about Western society now, he was complaining about almost 200 years ago.
He was arrested for not paying taxes,
Yeah,
living in a little cabin in the woods and fishing from a pond and just eating fruit, like living completely
yeah,
naturally, right?
yep. So yeah, that's kind of where I've been at. I haven't finished Walden yet. I'm kind of reading it, like, as I I'm like, all right, let me pick it up and read 30 or 40
So
pages here.
if I were to recommend a book for a young man like yourself now in 2024, when you're done Walden, get yourself a copy of Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll blow your mind. And it's so relevant today. And it'll change your thinking on the Romans. Like they were not the barbarians we've been told they are. Like everything in history is a bullshit lie. I mean, they warred and everything, they did all that, but you go back in a time machine and you look at that period of history. I mean, everybody was warring, there were the Persians, everybody was around. The Romans just came in and leveled it all. They were just like the masters of war in their time, right?
Yeah, I'll definitely put that
Yeah.
on the list of meditations. I've also just been, the more I meditate, the more it's like I start to apply spirituality to things that like I never applied spirituality to before.
Yeah.
So, for example, like one of my favorite movies is A Bronx Tale, and
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
was
yeah,
just
yeah. I love that movie too. How
yeah
much how much does he owe you? $20. Do you need the $20? No. That's the cheapest way you're gonna get rid of the guy. It's just
yeah.
like so
And so I was just watching yesterday on YouTube just the now Use Can't Leave scene. And I was
yeah,
like, and believe it or not, I was like applying a spiritual aspect to that. And it was like, it's like the bikers were something Satan on their back,
yeah,
and like they came in unwelcome, and then he told them, he said, you can stay here and you can have your drink, and then you can leave. And they said okay, and then they caused a scene, and then they had to pay the repercussions of causing a scene. But then I was like, man, this is kind of spiritual if you think about it. You got Satan being allowed to come in and have his stay, but then when it comes time to kick him out, you got to kick him out. And
yeah, yeah. It's a great movie, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think that's the only movie that Robert De Niro's ever like directed. I
yeah.
think
I don't know
I
any
hear
other.
he's doing a movie now, and I guess that'll be the second movie he ever directed, but um this was the first. Yeah.
Yeah, yep, yeah. I think he. I mean, we know about De Niro now and like the shitty aspect of who he is, but that movie, I think I think he financed that movie himself and like gave Chaz Palminteri the chance to do it. So
Yeah,
that was
man. I
pretty.
mean, the way De Niro goes at Trump now, he went on The View as well. Robert De Niro on The View. The way he goes at Trump now, you gotta wonder what Team Trump has on that guy, because it seems to me like De Niro is behaving like a man who's not really interested in politics, but really interested in his own survival.
Wow. Yeah, I hadn't seen him on the view. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
Why would they bring him on the view?
Well, because they hate Trump on The View as well.
Oh, that's the common connection.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Those yeah, you know, it's amazing to me that three women named Whoopi, Joy, and Sunny have brought so much negativity to women.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Although Whoopi has said some kind of interesting things in the past few years.
Uh, well,
Nothing that people haven't heard before, though. But
yeah, she's just a bit of an idiot too, in my
yeah.
opinion. You know,
Yep.
I don't have too much positive to say about her, but God bless her. She's on her life journey. Um, it's really not that good to judge anybody, but she has spoken publicly. She is trying to affect the public mind, so she's fair game, right?
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I don't have too much more for you, Bruce. Like I said, I was kind of all over the place. I knew I was all over the place coming in to today, coming into this conversation. But I just had some things like I was like, I just want to chat with Bruce for a little bit, and
Yeah.
so
All right, man. You be well, okay?
yeah, you too, Bruce.
Bye-bye.
Fellas, you're not dressed properly. He's gonna have to leave.
Properly? Jimmy, what's wrong with the way we're dressed?
What's up? This gentleman ain't dressed right. I asked him to leave.
Is there a problem then? The problem is your man here says we're not properly dressed, like our money ain't green. We just want a couple of beers.
A few beers, that's it.
That's it, we'll be on our way. We ain't looking for trouble.
Spoke like a gentleman. Give me the beers. Go ahead.
I appreciate it.
No problem.
You got some brews down here, nice cold ones. Get us some nice cold brews. Come on. Two over here, huh? One more over here, one more.
All right, brothers, if I may, a toast to our host.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Look at all this shit all over here. Hey!
Oh, you again, huh?
That wasn't very nice. Now you've got to leave.
I'll tell you when the fuck we leave, all right? Get the fuck away from me.
Go watch the bites, man.
Now you just can't leave.
I will never forget the look on their faces. All 8 of them. Their faces dropped. All their courage and strength was drained right from their bodies. They had a reputation for breaking up bars. But they knew that instant they made a fatal mistake. This time they walked into the wrong bar.
Come on, motherfucker! Come on, you scrappy motherfucker! Come on! Come on! Let's go!
Thou shall never love another.
I shall never love another.
And stand by me all while.
And stand by me all the while.
Happiness with the heartaches.
Take happiness with the heartaches.
And go through life wearing a smile.
Go through life wearing a smile.
Oh, how happy we will be if we keep the 10 commandments of love.
Step on his fucking head! Come on, get him out of here! Drag him the fuck out! Come on, move! Let's out of here!
Love is
What's my
so
car?
grand. You define since the beginning of time.
Get him!
It has
Get me back!
in all oh, how
Hey, you motherfucker! Look at me.
command.
I'm the one who did this to you. Remember me. Come on, Sonny. Come on, let's go. You guys get the fuck out. That ruined my whole fucking lunch. Sonny, come on, let's get the fuck out. Sonny, get out of here. Come on. Leave them there like the bugs that they are. No, you don't. That ruined my whole fucking lunch. Come on, get out of here.
The 10 Commandments of